Speak parenting right now in our final hour. They may share a birthday, a wardrobe, or even a secret language, but raising twins is never easy. It's not just one formula for both kids. They both are different in terms of as individuals. From the adorable double giggles to the double tantrums, parents of twins quickly learn that the two for the price of one is both a blessing, but can also be a full-time work out. There's also the delicate task of nurturing each child individually. We talk about the joys and challenges of raising twins equally with Sandra Oluwadare, who is a parenting and family systems strategist. Sandra, welcome on the show.
Many thanks, Benjamin. Thank you for having me.
Hey,
How are you?
It's great having your bubbly self on the show. Welcome right here on Channel Africa. Sandra, twins are kind of an interesting ones because you get those who look alike, you get those who are not identical, but the thing that actually is special about twins is that they were actually born from one womb.
Yes.
And how significant is that bond?
Wow. It's such a great bond. I love what you said earlier when you said you got two for the price of one. It's a great bond. We have double milestones, double smiles, like double of everything. You have emotions in multiples and all of that. So it's a beautiful thing. I love twins a lot. Is it the deep bond we want to talk about? Is it the milestones they have to hit double times? Is it the how they look out for themselves, or how you watch them bloom together, right? Having twins is such a beautiful thing. But like you said earlier, we must also look past the fact that you have double of these wonderful humans. We must look farther away from the fact that they're alike, especially if they're identical, and that temptation to treat them as a set, we just have to shelve it at some point, because that way you get to the point where you begin to treat them as one and the same instead of actually looking into who they really are to say, okay, this person is different from this other one. So yeah, holistically, I mean, having twins is really beautiful.
Yeah.
But there are many other things that we also need to look at. I believe we're still going to go into that. So let me just wrap this up here for now.
Sure. I mean, instinctively, Sandra, you actually raise them to share the same kind of things because you don't want to create a competition or an unevenness. So you buy them the same clothes, you give them the same snacks, right? Is that a good thing?
Well, it's not a bad thing, right? But like I said earlier, even doing that strengthens the bond. It makes them begin to see themselves as a united front. I mean, if one person is down, it's both of us falling down. I'm not talking about falling down physically. Like, they know that they're to stand up for themselves. They share a very unique bond. But aside all of that, we must also take note of the fact that as much as we're buying them the same kind of outfits, doing things for them the same way, as a parent, I also need to look to see who I am really raising. Because no matter how identical they may seem, their personality may be totally different. And when we get into that trap or that position where we're treating them as a set, we may just undermine certain important things that we need to look out for. Now, there are some children, for example, that if you scold them in the presence of their sibling, they don't mind, they don't care, they're fine. They would even dust it off and, continue with whatever they're doing. But for some other children, scolding them in front of their own sibling, I'm not even talking about an outsider, their own family, it's like you've broken their spirit. They feel broken. They feel really embarrassed. Now, imagine you have two children like this, a set of twins, and then you feel that, oh, because this one doesn't really care, and then you also continue to discipline the other one the same way you do the other, you just find that you are unintentionally, subtly creating a divide. You're creating a gap between their relationship, and these are some of the things that lead to sibling rivalry. So
Yeah.
as much as we want them to be identical, we want them to look same, we must also become a student of our children. We must become a student of those sets of twins, right? And say, okay, who is this person? How does she love to be loved? How does she love to receive love? What is her love language? What's this other person's, favorite way of being motivated? How can I correct this one such that I'm empowering him and I'm not putting him down? So these are some of the things we must understand, because even though we're putting them together as a set, we must recognize their individuality. That is how they will thrive. That is how they will stand out, because they have different strengths. They have different temperaments. They have different needs. And as a parent, we must be able to honor those differences. And it will take intentionality to do that. So there are things that we need to look deeply into to achieve the goal that we truly desire.
Fantastic. That's so very helpful. I'm going to take a break. Stay there on the line, Sandra, because you're giving us some wonderful tips there. And I want us to listen to a set of twins that I grew up with. And I asked them last night, I was like, guys, what are your challenges and what are the advantages of being twins? We'll listen to the voice notes that they sent me last night, but let's go to a break before that.
Ukatili wa kijinsia unaharibu maisha na kutenga jamii. Hutokea nyumbani, shuleni, kazini na mara nyingi kwa ukimya. Lakini hauwezi kuendelea. Ukiona, ongea. Ikiwa unaumia, funguka, kwa sababu kutofanya lolote sio chaguo. Sikiliza vituo vyote 19 vya redio kuanzia Jumatano ya tarehe 23 Julai kwenye mijadala, ushauri, tamthilia, maonyesho ya elimu na mahojiano na wataalamu, manusura, watunga sheria na nchi nzima iliyoathirika na ukatili wa kijinsia kwenye vituo vyako pendwa vya redio. Piga simu 0800 428 428 ili kuripoti unyanyasaji au kupata msaada. GBV ikomeshwe na wewe. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na shirika la SABC.
Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
Hey, it's time for us to continue our conversation. We've been speaking on parenting twins. How do you navigate the complexity that this set of twins come from the same womb, but they're definitely individuals? Last night I spoke to a set of twins that I grew up with, and this is what they both said about being twins. The first audio is from Tapelo, and the other one is from his brother. And it's very interesting to hear how they actually have differences in what they think are the advantages and the disadvantages of being twins. Take a listen.
So I'd say the best thing about being a twin is the fact that you've got like a friend for life, and you guys get along, and you don't. You have very, very few disputes. So you have like your own friend for those two, and then you get each other. And there's understanding. There's a friendship. It's like a friendship, a lifelong friendship without any squabbles. Which is sometimes a bit rare for the regular friendships that you have with regular people who are not like family and stuff, let alone twins. So that's the best. And the worst thing is, I would say, is the comparisons. Some people have the assumptions or the expectation that because you're twins, you have to be similar in character, or be similar in terms of where you guys are in life, be similar, even the way you dress and the way you look, and and for us that's not the case. We're completely different personalities, but we balance each other out very well. Thanks.
So one of the benefits of being a twin is that you don't learn how to share. In other words, ever since you were born, you are sharing life with someone else. You share a womb. When you're born, you share your mother's breasts, and you share clothes, you share food. So in a sense, you learn how not to be selfish because there's always someone else that you're sharing things with, sharing life with. So yeah, I think that's one of the benefits of being a twin. And then the disadvantages, of course, is that you'll be 38 like us and still have family members who call you by the other brother's name, which happens often where people still call me by my brother's name. And I'm like, how? But you're my family. You've known us all our lives, but you still can't call us by our correct names.
All right, that's Tapelo in the final audio there, and his brother Morapedi in the first audio, and we're just giving you examples of how it feels to actually be a twin. And it's interesting, right, listening to that particular conversation, that you're hearing them actually have different reasons what they think the advantages and the disadvantages of being a twin are, Sandra. So it manifests itself differently. And I love the fact earlier on you gave us the tip that, there are things that bind them and there are things that actually need to be identified that are differences. How do you notice those particular differences and also say, okay, this one is good at sports. Okay, this one is maybe good at public speaking. They're different in this sense. Let's nurture that differently.
Thank you, Benjamin. It was really good listening to the twins, like actual twins talking about this. And I really resonated with, what they said. So to your question, it's about being a student of your children. You need to be their student to be able to really observe and highlight these differences or these uniqueness about them. For example, the twins mentioned something earlier, that struggle for individuality, such that even family members would still call them, by their brother's name. And we find that, sometimes people refer to them as the twins instead of, maybe Mary and Joseph, for example, right?
Sure.
So if parents of twins don't really get intentional enough to say, I want to see how this child is playing. So when his toy was taken, how did he react? Oh, I see that this other one reacted in this particular way, but this one is a bit more violent. Or, okay, this other one is able to go to bed himself, but the other one needs somebody to put him to bed. It is until you pay attention, that is when you would really see these things highlighted, because most times we wait for grand moments to see things about our children. But those things you want to see about your children are actually things they do in the everyday moments. So it is us parents that need to slow down to say, I want to take time out to really study these children so that I can know who each one of them is. And something else that I would also quickly like to chip in is that thing about dependency. Now, we must learn to also treat these twins as individuals, right? Because as they're growing, you find that most times, even their social circle might be the same, their friends in school and all of that, because they're really a great support system to, one another. So most times they are together. Now, by the time they begin to grow up, maybe one person gets married, moving on can be a bit, or separating can be a bit difficult. So it's important that parents quickly identify these things and then treat them as individuals as much as they treat them as a set of twins, so that
Mm-hmm.
even though they are close, which makes twinhood special,
Yeah.
but their independence can also thrive. Their independence can also shine through, so that when they need to make certain decisions, right? Maybe one is moving to another part of the world or something, that separation, even though it will be painful, but it won't leave such a huge dent.
Okay.
So I think, this is really what parents need to do.
Sandra, you've been fantastic, and you've given us some key points on what to consider. Where can people find you online to get more of this wonderful advice from you?
Yes, it's Winning in Parenting on Instagram. It's Winning in Parenting on Facebook, and it's Winning in Parenting on YouTube. I'm also on TikTok as Winning in Parenting. And you can also send me an email at info@winninginparenting.com.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sandra. That was such a wonderful conversation with you. Thank you for joining us here on Channel Africa.
Thank you so much for having me, Benjamin. It's my pleasure.
That's Sandra Oluwadare, Parenting and Family Systems Strategist.